11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the line, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about 90 minutes or so each day. We do 3 different gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We also hit a bunch of daily points or daily topics. We run it live on YouTube, and we simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're listening to the live comments coming in from the people watching us live. When it's all over, we'll take the audio, post that as a podcast over on iTunes, where we encourage everybody who's listening to the show, either now or in the future, to leave us some feedback, either on iTunes, which would be great if you would take the time to go over and download iTunes onto your computer. If it's not already there, find our show and give us a rank or a rating and give us some comments. That would help us to be recommended to more listeners over there. While you're there, check out some of the other good gun-related podcasts that are there. There's a growing number all the time. Also over on YouTube, we appreciate people that subscribe to our channel over there. It is one of the ways that we gauge, how successful our time and effort on the show is. So if you can encourage other people to like and subscribe to our channels as well, that'd be great. The live listeners, it's also great to see that number go up. So anybody you might know who would have time to listen to the show live, we encourage you to share our show with everybody. There's 5 hosts, 4 of us are here. It's kind of gathering today. Everybody's here. We've got Bob jumping in, normally from Canada. He's in Tucson right now. Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And we got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Yep, glad I could make it.
Then we got Smeggy jumping in after traveling and growing older. Thanks for joining.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
I'm also down here in Tucson, and then we'll have Z jumping in from Maui when he's done with one of his 9-to-5s. So today is episode number 301. A couple of things happening today because it's Monday. It's also the first day of May. We'll be doing our end of the month / beginning of the month stuff for our Patreon supporters. So we'll be talking about that. We also will be talking about the next month going forward. And then tomorrow's Every Second Matters. So we'll talk a little bit about that, I'm sure. And then I guess today we're going to be talking about what's going on with my schedule. There we go. About gun tech, binary triggers, Gun Channels University, talking about organizing Second Amendment supporters. But before we dig into that and all the stuff that we hit on a daily basis, we like to take a break before the show starts to see if anything happened overnight, or in this case, over the weekend. Anything worth talking about?
Whole thing called NRA something.
The NRA show?
Yeah, I know a little bit something about that. Yes, I did. I went to the NRA show. It was pretty cool. My foot's broken, so that was annoying walking around so much. But other than that, yeah, there's cool stuff going on. Interesting atmosphere and all that. But I don't know if we
Did your foot
go ahead.
end up being a broken bone?
No, it just isn't working properly. Therefore, I call it broken. I have no idea what's wrong with it.
He actually has gout from eating too many pickles.
I don't know if that's it. Because I don't eat a lot of pickles, so I have no idea if it's gout or whatever. I just know I can't bend my toe, and it hurts a lot to stand on it. But anyways, no one cares about that.
We may have not actually seen it, but you described it to us, and we've already diagnosed it. So,
well, that's great. Can you tell me how to fix it? Because I was about ready to buy a brand new Benchmade just to cut my toe off. Because that's about how much it hurt on Saturday. But anyways, I don't know. There was some cool stuff. I don't know if you want, I don't necessarily want to get into a huge thing. It'll take up the whole show. Talking about.
I mean, it's worthy talking about. What did you see there that
Well, probably one of the coolest things I saw, and I need to do a little more looking into it on, whatever, like all the specs and stuff, but there's a company, it's Foxtrot Mike Productions, or like F&M Products, not productions, products. Anyways, they were making a polymer AR lower that's reinforced with like aluminum and titanium and all sorts of crazy stuff. And it has like a forward charging handle and just like, ambi mag release and bolt catch and all this stuff. Like, it's just kind of cool, but it's in a like a 9mm. And what they have is you have the regular magwell and all that, but then also in the pistol grip, it also holds a mag. So like when they were showing it, they had two like 30-round Glock mags. So it's like you'd be shooting with the one, you drop that, then you drop the mag out of the pistol grip, grab it with your other hand, and slam it into the magwell. Like, I thought that was a very interesting way of keeping a second mag on your, pistol caliber AR. And it just looked really neat with the polymer and then having the titanium and aluminum and stuff, like pieces standing out. So
interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was kind of cool. I don't know if it's practical or whatever, but I thought it was cool. So that really stood out to me. And the new Springfield hammer fired XD stood out to me as being dumb. Like, the trigger's crappy and big and heavy, and like, I don't understand why they did it. And then now knowing with the thing in Illinois, where Springfield's whatever they're doing, they're supporting some anti-gun thing or whatever. So screw them. I won't say anything nice about the new Springfield XD. So that stood out as being dumb to me. And that was before actually I knew the news about the Illinois thing. So I just thought it was kind of a crappy trigger and not needed. And I like hammer fired guns. So I never thought it'd be like, they should have just stuck with making striker fired. That didn't sound like something I would say, but I did. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. There's lots of stuff around, but those things kind of stuck out to me.
Did you meet any interesting gun channel members while you were there?
Oh, you said interesting. I mean, I met the usual suspects that I had met before with Marco and Pink Panther and DB Cooper. I did meet Ballistic Expansion, not Ballistics apparently, and yeah, he was pretty cool. Trying to think. Oh, I met Cave Dave, real cool guy. That was fun to talk to him for a little bit. And yeah, one of our listeners, Cave Dave.
Oh, okay.
And then I've kind of said hi to some of the other like other people that I don't know necessarily personally. Also, I met Arson Tony like within 2 minutes of being at the show. I didn't even have my badge yet, and I was like, "Oh, there's Arson Tony. What's up, dude?" So that was pretty cool. I didn't meet Andrew's Armory. I didn't see them there. Trying to think. Like I said, and then all the other ones are people that like, of. Like, I talked to Jaeger for a few minutes and Hitchcock 45 and Military Arms Channel and stuff like that. But like I said, I don't have that personal connection with them, so it was kind of like, oh, hey, what's up? You guys are cool. And then went on about my business.
Any people rounded up? Did you wrangle anybody for guests on the show?
I can't say that I did.
Damn it, Smiggy.
I know, I was pretty horrible this weekend, I ain't gonna lie. So, yep, that was pretty bad. Although I did meet Trump's son, and Ballistic got
right on.
a picture with him. He was all excited.
Yeah, so
he'll be on the show next week.
Okay, good. I was hoping you would actually do one thing.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Bob. But yeah, anyways, all in all, it was fun. Good times.
Right on. So that'll take us into the show. So this week, on Mondays, we take a quick look at the week. We already talked about today. Tomorrow's Tuesday. We'll be talking about Second Amendment. Topic will be, will the election of Trump reduce activism and will it die? Wait, will the Trump election reduce activism? Wait, will? This is a bad sentence, but basically it's saying, will the consequences of Trump's election be the death of Second Amendment advocacy? We'll talk about that concept tomorrow. Then we have a good idea, bad idea segment. We'll be talking about clearing a house versus holding up in one room. We talk about one of the states each week. This week we'll talk about Oregon, and then on Tuesdays we do our Daily Gun Show, #Daily Gun Show Showdown. So anybody that's out there on Instagram using #Daily Gun Show, we look through some of the photos and then hand out some fabulous prizes for people that help participate in getting the word about the show out that way. And let's see, that'll bring us to Wednesday. We'll talk about alternative self-defense tools on our CCW segment. For the entertainment segment, we're going to be talking about the most common guns in movies. And then we have our tactical quiz on Wednesday. Thursdays, we will start off with gun stuff, and we'll be talking about range toys. And then during the training subject or topic, we'll talk about Mike Pannone. And then on Thursdays, we talk about shooting events. So anybody that has stuff to add to the calendar over at Gun Channels, we usually use that as our guide and look through the calendar of upcoming shooting-related events, let people know what's coming. And then Friday, we'll be talking about loaning firearms to museums as part of your, I guess, what would you call what do you call inheritance to somebody else? Isn't it word for that? When you will something to a museum or something? Or I guess also just putting them on loan while you're alive, I guess. Then for the gun biz, we'll talk about working with small gun shops. And then on Fridays, we take a look back at the week. We'll be doing Gun Channel Story Time. This week is Store Number. So we'll have a very special Gun Channel Story Time. Dan will have to give us as much or as little detail as he'd like about that adventure. And I think that's it. I think we mentioned that on Wednesdays we have the tactical quiz. At any moment of any day, you might encounter a tactical pop quiz. They do apply to your grade, and along with attendance, encompass 86% of your GPA, your grade for the year, for the semester. So,
can I say that I can't say participation
perception
is also part of your grade. So participate by commenting and sending in stuff to the email and all the other good stuff, thumbs up and all that,
and sharing it, and maybe sending Smeggy a dictionary with pronunciations of words.
No, my brain just don't work good. Okay, leave me alone. I'm having a tough day.
Well, do you guys have anything else that I'm missing for things that we want to talk about this week? Any other goals for the week? All right.
I don't know. I want to see us getting up to 1,000 subs on our on the Daily Gun Show channel on YouTube. I mean, that we should be able to pump that up without any problems. I mean, back in the early days of the chats, we were able to pump my channel up from 300 subs to 800 in a month. So
I was going to say, because that's a pretty big challenge for a week. We've been doing this show pretty much daily, at least every weekday, from a little bit over a year now, quite a bit over a year at this point, and we're at 300 on our YouTube. Granted, we didn't necessarily spend all that much time towards that goal, but that would be a massive leap. It can be done, you're right. If everybody out there who's a subscriber right now would encourage someone else to subscribe, then we would be at 600, and then potentially that amount of growth would move us up in the recommendations. So some people would organically find it or randomly find it surfing. But then if we did that effort again after some amount of time, we could boost it up again, but that's unrealistic. Nobody's...
Well, one of the things we have to do is the Gun Channel members that are doing the nightly chats and stuff like that, you've got to mention that and remind everybody, because there's people that go on those night chats that don't normally listen to the Daily Gun Show, but if it came up in their feeds that, oh, the Daily Gun Show was on, maybe they wouldn't listen to it, but they might go back and listen to it later. So that's just,
I don't want to shit in your sugar crunch, but that's something we've been doing for a while. But since our topic for the Gun Channels University is organizing a bunch of Second Amendment advocates, let's just transition over into that. That's so. Dano had an issue with his computer. He'll be back when he can. But before we jump into that segment officially, we do like to take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day and feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community. It's focused on firearms. It's changed over the years, and that's because it's completely run by its members. It's not a business plan that has a bunch of sponsors and support behind it that has a direction to make you buy something or to act in any certain way. It's just there to allow people who are interested in communicating with each other to have a gun-friendly place to do so, with an emphasis on firearms, just broadly. So the reason it's able to survive for the last 4 years is because of its membership, and we like to feature some of the members over there each day. Today, we're featuring Rafael, one of our friends from Florida. Now, I guess all three of us have not met him, or did you meet him, Smeggy?
I have not met him, no.
So we've kind of been talking about Smeggy meeting up with people at the NRA show, but whenever we can, there are people in pretty much all the states. We've got 5,000 members over at Gun Channels, a couple of hundred of them, participate fairly regularly. Dozens of us participate quite often, and that covers most of the country. So every once in a while, when a big event like a big gun show or like the NRA show or SHOT Show or one of the other trade shows happens, quite a few people do end up getting to meet face to face. There we go. Talked long enough. And Dano's back. Now, Dano is one of the people who had a chance to meet Rafael. And I know we featured him in the past, but he's a consistent member, consistent participant in the live chats, which is great. He posts stuff on the main page of Gun Channels, which is great. He's a photographer. He's a good photographer. So posts a lot of pictures of firearms and other things. And, he's a regular person. He's out there doing his thing. So he'll come in. I know I've heard him talk about his bugs, his VW, and some of his other stuff like work and the guitars and everything. So again, a great example of the reason we built Gun Channels, so that people who have interest in reaching out and networking with other people and with a kind of a focus on the firearms, have a place to do it. So thanks, Rafael, for making Gun Channels the place it is.
Well, what I really like about Rafael, besides just him being a cool guy, is that when he first joined, he just kind of liked guns. And already I've seen him like buy his first gun and take his dad to the range. And then, he bought a long gun. And then so I feel like I've seen him like come into shooting guns and be able to experience firsthand. And I really enjoy a lot of the conversations where he's like, oh, I've heard about this, so-and-so or whatever, but I don't really know anything about it. And then all of the other Gun Channels people will give advice about whatever or give their recommendations and all that stuff. So that's one of the things that I really liked. And it's one of the things that I like about Gun Channels is that you can talk with gun people and get knowledge when maybe in your real life, your friends aren't into guns. So you just talk to them about other stuff. But then you come on Gun Channels, you talk about guns with people. So I've liked seeing that progression of Rafael. And again, cool guy, although he really likes cats. Whatever. I won't hold it against him too much.
No, there's nothing wrong with liking cats. And I think Raf's a hell of a nice guy. I've talked to him quite a bit. So, yeah, he's definitely an asset for the channel.
I think that we made the wrong decision because the one person who has met him has been quiet. So maybe we.
Well, I was waiting for my turn. Yes, I actually met him and his father. Very nice. Actually got to see him shoot his first firearm ever, rifle and pistol. And then, of course, he had, dozens and dozens of both to choose from and shot virtually all of them. And then, 6 months later, ends up going and, having a number of firearms at this point and really getting into the enjoyment of firearms. So it's a great guy to have around. and is not to admit what he does not know, which is a great attribute of anyone.
Right on. So we're digging into how to use social media today is organizing a bunch of Second Amendment advocates. And Bob was talking about, well, he was actually encouraging people to help spread the word about our show by chatting or by letting people know in the what we call the primetime chats, like Matt and Yankee. Here's the deal. What are you going to do in Yankees? I'm the only one who's in Yankees, and people could give a crap. There's more people that watch the show when I'm not there than when Yankees by himself. So I doubt that the people that are listening to Yankee show are, I mean, it's obvious. They have 800 people, 800 to 1,200 people listening live on his show, and we have 30. So I doubt very much of Yankees audience is interested in jumping over. But even if it was, there's a buried access. I'm the only one even in that show. Smeggy's co-hosted it a couple of times, I think, when Matt was sick or something. But it's not something we can all access. Matt's show or something like that. I think the people who listen to Matt's show, I mean, I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but they would probably already be listening because there's nothing else on right now, and they know about it. I really think, though, that there's got to be other ways to, if we're talking about our show specifically, but just in general, besides preaching to the choir, which I consider those strategies, there's got to be other ways we can figure it out about a podcast.
I was actually talking just in the general 24/7 chats. If we just asked everybody who's in them, and because we're all in them at some point or another, is if you think of it, bring up that Daily Gun Show could use some more subscribers in it, and put the link. And I think if we just do that, because I've been on chats where people just go, "Oh, all you people in the chat, right, or like in the text chat, subscribe to each other and blah blah blah," and boy, like you'll get a ton of subscribers. You might subscribe to a bunch of channels that have like 2 videos, but so what? So that's what I'm talking about more than like I know in the mainstream, like Matt mentions it and on Yankees and stuff, but not that I listen to his chats, but I do occasionally. I think it's if we can do it the grassroots way, which is just encourage everybody to subscribe to each other's channels, but remind them that the Daily Gun Show is is important to.
All right, well, let's get off our show. Who cares about our show? We're talking about the Second Amendment here. How do we organize people who would if they had to fill out a thing about themselves? They fill in the dot next to Second Amendment advocate, but they're not out there actively gathering more advocates up to pursue some goal. So later on in the week, tomorrow, I guess we're going to talk about whether or not Trump's election has anything to do with this. But am I wrong? But there's like complete apathy at this point.
Yeah, there does seem to be, and that's something I noticed at the show because when talking with people, because I kind of brought the topic we'll talk about tomorrow up, and most people are like, "Oh yeah, it should be good." So, anyways, look at this new so and so or whatnot. Like everyone's just looking at product or whatever.
In Trump's speech, he said nothing about specifics.
Yeah, well, but anyways,
you expect him to?
Yeah, I did actually. At the NRA, I expected him to say we're going to push forward this law on silencers, and we're going to do more about other things. I was hoping.
All right, we can talk about that tomorrow.
But as far as Trump's speech, though, or is that what you're talking about, Bob?
Yeah, talking about Trump's speech, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Time for him to score a lot of points.
I hear you, but I think that's more like tomorrow. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Trump specifically, but I have to listen to a speech before then, I guess. It's online, I'm guessing.
It should be. I haven't found it, but I haven't really looked. I didn't go and watch it. But as far as on this topic, though, getting people together, that's a tough one. I think that's what gun rights organizations have been trying to do for a while now. And I don't know, maybe just encourage people to join a local thing with you and, go to the meetings and whatever. Get people to listen to Every Second Matters and join in. Because I think that's kind of what Every Second Matters is doing, right? It's bringing together 2A people, but it's kind of like an in crowd. We need to get that other people.
Well, that's the thing, I guess. I would
willing to talk about it.
I would say it's been an effort for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, since 2013, right? The end of 2013. So we're talking almost 4 years, same as gun channels. And was it about the same time? Yeah. So anyway, many years now, and putting consistent effort into it. I mean, pretty consistent monthly. There's a couple of months in all that time where there was not a show, or somebody, nobody picked up the ball and ran a show. But however many shows that is, and then however much social media potential there's been in all that time, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying we got to figure out a new strategy. Otherwise we're just wasting time. We're just treading water. This is the time that we should be making headway now. Like, we should have a power.
I think part of having a new strategy is recognizing what hurdles are you facing. And I think anytime you see two things in conjunction, you're generally seeing a trend. And what I'm referring to is the slowdown in gun sales and the slowdown in people worried about their Second Amendment rights. And so it's a matter of, how do you try to get people to become proactive when they may be slipping into that mindset? And I don't have a clear answer for that.
Right. And that's the problem, is that traditionally people care about the Second Amendment when the boogeyman's coming to take it away. That's when everyone comes out of the woodwork. That's when they work together, fight against some law that just got passed that's really bad or something. But yeah, it is. I think we need to try and rally the troops in the good times, and get them to. I don't know. I guess I'm rambling. I apologize, but
I'm going to make an assumption that there's a large portion of people, I don't know what percent to put on it, that feel that the status quo is acceptable. And so trying to get to move or to motivate those people is literally an uphill battle. Not impossible, but an uphill battle nonetheless.
Right. I think part of maybe one of the first steps is to almost get people out of the closet in a way, right? Like, I talk about guns all the time. Everyone at work knows that I'm a gun guy and all that stuff. And I think by showing that this is something that you're able to talk about, people feel more comfortable talking about it in public. You might find someone you didn't even know was a gun enthusiast. And then now you can be like, oh, are you going to that rally this weekend? Or, oh, did you sign that petition? Or like, you can kind of do the grassroots thing of getting people together to all work towards a common goal. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, that's true. But in a lot of cases, when you're talking about individuals, I mean, to try to get them all to do the same thing, it's, and lots of people use this term, it's herding cats. It's really hard.
Well, how do you motivate people who feel that it's back to the status quo and the status quo is good enough?
I think you have to start putting the point forward. We got to take back, not, be glad with what we've got left.
That's a good thing, because most people are competitive, or at least interested in action or movement, right? Something's just sitting there and you've just put effort into potentially resisting it, I guess. And now you take that breath. I guess your inclination is to go do something else. There's no danger here. We're done. But like Bob's saying, if there was movement the other way and they could get behind, I think really the Hearing Protection Act is probably the biggest thing we got going for us as far as that, right? But is the other efforts taking from that? Do we have to do it one at a time, or is the best strategy to do it one at a time on the big scale? I guess I'm a little concerned on that, because I don't know if Smeggy was at the NRA show and he didn't see anything about it. I mean, he didn't maybe seek it out, but if it wasn't there weren't banners up about it, or like I don't know, there's calls to action there, like who to vote for and to donate and to that kind of thing. Was there any calls to action to any of these individual efforts?
I'm gonna say there were some like some boosts that were the more like activism type boosts, but as far as like big banners and stuff, no. Although you did remind me of something that I definitely want to shout out. Dan Wesson, the hats they were giving away just says Dan Wesson on it, then it says repeal the NFA. And I thought that was really cool for a company to put on their swag, repeal the NFA, and hand it out to, I don't know, whatever, thousands of people, however many hats they had. I don't know how many.
That was Dan Wesson?
Dan Wesson, yeah.
A company that makes revolvers predominantly, so they have nothing to gain from cans or short barrel rifles or shotguns or anything, right?
Right. Well, and they also make, they were recently bought by CZ. So they make like competition guns and 1911s and stuff also. But yeah, you're right. They don't make short-barreled rifles and suppressors and all that kind of stuff. And yet they're like, hey, let's repeal the NFA.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, that's actually a good sign. So let's all support Dan Wesson if we can.
Yeah. Well, I wore their hat all weekend, if that counts. Going out on the town wearing a repeal the NFA hat. Like that's.
So when do I get mine, Smeggy? Did you mail it already?
Yeah, as soon as you go to the NRA show, you can pick one up.
I got a hat for you.
Oh, that was nice of you.
And now though.
Okay.
On that note, between Smeggy's experience at the NRA and ours, at least my experience, as far as the I just have this feeling in my gut that there's a certain portion, and I don't know whether to say it's half or less than half or whatever, that people are satisfied and sitting fat and happy, which is not a great position to be in regards to preparing for what inevitably will be the next attack, like we had here in Illinois with the attempted restriction so far of 9 purchases a year, saying how many firearms somebody can buy per year. I mean, that's the sort of thing, death by 1,000 paper cuts, that happens when people become apathetic.
So Artisan Tony was also at the NRA show, and he's saying on the YouTube side there were no calls to action. And that's interesting because I'm sure Tony would have an eye out for that kind of stuff. So I don't know how many people are listening to our show live right now that went to the show, but what, if any, was your, what were you most encouraged by? I don't like to just talk about the negative. I mean, it was a show where obviously just the fact that the show exists and year after year it probably gets bigger and bigger, and everybody, I'm assuming, got, a good percentage of them were armed and all met up again in a different town or different city each year, and no issues, right? No violence, no tragedy of any kind. I'm going to ask about, well, I guess this is the wrong time to do that. So I guess just narrowcast anybody that might be listening, and then to finish that question, what was the most encouraging thing? But then bringing it back to the subject, let me ask you guys, was there any efforts at the NRA to bring attention to specific things? Or I already asked that. Like, were they, I don't know, I know that they're probably trying to rally the troops. Was it just to join the NRA, or was it to like listen to our podcast, or was it not our podcast, but like, listen to the NRA media outlets, or was it, what was their message of the show this year? It wasn't like we have to worry about Hillary, I'm sure. Was it just like, I don't know, I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it was more just what the heck is they calling that thing? I don't remember, but there was something they were pushing that was basically like, what the heck is that? Like concealed carry, or like self-protection type stuff. Sorry, I'm looking up things as I'm going. And that was like their big push you saw everywhere. The NRA carry guard, which I think is like a...
Well, you're talking about like a product or a service that they offer?
Yeah, exactly. A program created America's most comprehensive insurance and legal coverage, as well best-in-class training for those who carry. So, like, I guess the underlying message, besides just pushing their own thing, is that, like, people should carry and protect themselves and be prepared to do so. So as far as getting training and having, you know, like the backup insurance for what might happen afterwards and all that stuff. And, you know, so that was kind of the main message. Again, not just their product or their service, but just you are in charge of you. Like, you have to protect yourself, which I think we've all said before at one point or another, but
well, that's just a way to be. So they were encouraged like responsibility. They weren't like I guess I was going to say there's like the NSSF, and they'll say like, if you own a gun, it's your fault that there's gun crime. Like, shame yourself unless you have a gun safe, or whatever their campaign is. And then they'll have other campaigns from NSSF. I'm assuming the NRA didn't work with NSSF on anything. Any of their campaigns.
right.
All right. Well, so it's mostly just the meetings and the exhibits. So it's really it's what should I say, a capitalistic celebration of merchandise and commerce and product, which is fine. I mean, that's what makes that's the engine to our economy. So that's fine. But I guess I was asking before what was the most encouraging thing you got. I don't know if maybe there wasn't anything specific, but let's see.
Or was there anything that was encouraging other than sales?
I'm going back to they're talking about their law in Illinois. I think you have to ask when I went to the seminars and the lectures during the summer. Oh, so DB saying you'd have to ask somebody who went to some of the seminars. I imagine so, but I guess I'm just asking because I don't even go to seminars when I go to NRA show. That's asking a lot to go to a giant show that you go through all that crowd and stuff and then go watch the thing that you know is going to be televised live later. Unless there's like somebody specific you want to do like a Q&A with or shake their hand or something, I think it's more practical to just go around the floor. So I was just wondering, in the past, there's been campaigns and stuff that they've been trying to push, or agendas, I guess, that the NRA is trying to push. I went in 2009 and 2010. So they weren't necessarily big years, if I remember correctly. There wasn't too much at risk, so they weren't pushing. And that's the tendency of a giant company, though, to just sit there, to not break any ground.
Right. Well, that was like last year. The theme
did anybody go to that YouTuber panel?
I didn't go to that, no.
I'm assuming that was televised. I'm asking the audience then, did anybody watch that YouTuber panel? Was anything brought up during that? Which it seems like from some of the posts I've seen where everybody's happy and smiling with each other, and Mac was saying that he's happy to work with the NRA going forward, that potentially, again, that I don't know if we were talking about this off air or not, but is it possible that the NRA, through their efforts with like Coleon Noir and their other online, what they call podcasts / TV shows / productions, trying to reach the people and reach a different demographic and get more youth involved, is it possible that they saw the potential there and the profit there, and then figured, hey, we got the biggest names in YouTube here, and then I don't think they're sellouts, right? Those people are all from the ground up. It's not like if you gave any of them people, especially some of the ones making some serious scratch, you can't just give them enough money to say, let's not worry about Second Amendment anymore. Instead, here's just take this money, right? So we know that's not happening. So is it possible that the reason that these social media people were happy to do it is that the NRA saying, hey, we are we're figuring out that our old strategy of like we can only do one thing at a time isn't the only thing we can do. With your help, we can accomplish all these multiple strategies at once, combine our efforts. Is there any, I don't know, did anybody hear anything that it would be going that way?
All right, I didn't hear anything about that, but I'm probably out of that loop a little bit. Well, one of the things, going back to the encouraging thing, Tony brought it up, and I was also going to say that it is encouraging just seeing all of those gun enthusiasts there. Like there was a lot of people there, and that's always cool to see. And I have to say, as far as like demographic goes, that stereotype of like old white guy that's the NRA. I didn't see that at all. Like there were definitely different types of people there. And I'm trying to think back. I've only been to 2, so I'm like comparing it to last year versus this year, and they were probably about the same. So I can't necessarily say, oh, it's growing number of young people or women or minorities or whatever, because I've only have 2 points of knowledge. But it seemed like a regular, diverse crowd, really.
I think that has something to do with where they hold it too, because not everybody travels to. A certain amount of people are just showing up, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, there might be some people that just like, if it happens to be local to them, they'll show up.
So speaking of the lady, what would you think? Is the NRA becoming 25% women, 75% men, or is it actually moving to more 50-50?
You can't tell from going and walking around because, number one, dudes are going to take their wives there whether or not they're members or not, right?
Right. I can say this, though. The room was not 50-50 men and women, but that doesn't really mean anything as far as who's a member of the NRA or not. So
there was more women there than...
I don't know. Let's say 75-25, mostly men.
Oh.
Bummer.
But when I was walking around with 4 girls and just me, I mean, that seemed like the ratio was better.
We ended up talking about the NRA, but it is coincidentally when it just happened, so it only happens once a year, so it's not a big tragedy or anything. But we didn't really talk about organizing Second Amendment people. I don't know if there's much we can do. We are us, and we've been trying for a long time, but the topic was on the table, so we put it out there. If you're listening to the show now or in the future and you're shaking your fist into the screen because we didn't address the topic well enough, I certainly hope, I encourage you, I ask you to contact us at dailygunshow@gmail.com and let us know that you're interested in this and you've got some knowledge or passion. Either one will work. On the second day of each month, that means tomorrow, we'll be doing the Every Second Matters show. And that'll probably might as well be one of the subjects for tomorrow. I think we had a project. I'll have to see if I wrote it in the notes somewhere to that what we're going to do tomorrow. Are you going to be available to be in the show tomorrow, Smaggy?
Yeah, I should be, as long as it's like tomorrow afternoon or evening.
You're working tomorrow?
During the day, yeah.
Okay. Well, then I don't know if I want to push it off till after everything, so I don't know when to do it, but that'll be tomorrow. And
maybe before the Daily Show we could do it.
Yeah, it's a little early, but it's probably the only time to do it. So anyway, that's one effort that we've been putting into every day on the 2nd of the month to get together and have a live show where people jump in and let us know what they've done for the 2nd, and then we talk about issues and try to at least create a place where anybody who's interested can and is welcome to participate in an ongoing conversation. But yeah, it's tough to keep going when so many things failed. I guess that tells us a bunch of stuff that didn't work, so eventually we'll find the right thing. But I don't know. I'll have to watch some of the videos from the NRA show and see what kind of theme there was to it or what kind of momentum they were pushing.
So
I guess we'll go on into gun tech, binary triggers. I like
to go pop. What was that? the day.
You got a suppressor on it.
You're right. It's that time. Cursor's down in the text box. Limber up your fingers. G-Webs and Smeggy, if you could do me a favor and pay attention to the YouTube side. Today is it's an Italian question. I'll give you a hint on that. So my enunciation may not be spot on. Account when listening to me. So, G-Webs and Smeg, you ready?
I have seen the answer provided.
Ciao.
Oh, all right.
I'd say yes.
All right. In 1526, Bartoli Beretta received 296 ducats for arquebus that were sold to the Arsenal of Venice. How many did he? Again, in 1526, Maestro Bartolo Beretti received 296 as payment for how many arquebus barrels Arsenal of Venice?
Somebody want to read that who isn't breaking all up? I don't think I heard the question complete either time.
In 1526, some dude got paid 296 monies as payment for arquebus barrels sold to the Arsenal of Venice.
So we want a number.
There we go. We got it on the gun channel side. Cycle Camp got it.
We got the correct answer that fast?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You take 45 minutes to say the question. Somebody's going to probably get it pretty quick.
Well, and I mean, you got the right answers coming in on YouTube as well, but you're all too late.
Congratulations, Cycle Camp. You are today's Tactical Pop Quiz winner. You know where to go, but just in case, go to dailygunshow.com/popquiz. Fill out the form, put your first and second choice, and congratulations, Cycle Camp.
Yep.
Yeah, way to go, man.
So, Cycle Camp with the answer of 185. That makes you the hot shot of the day.
Yeah, a little weak, but not bad, Smeggy.
God, are you going to stop giving me shit? Leave me alone.
No, it was fine. It's kind of like every once in a while, even I have to redo the.
Yeah, I know, but
sometimes
I really like bugging Smeggy, and for some reason today it just feels so much more fun.
Well, thanks for the love, Bob.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Well, I just posted it now. So we do have we sent them, who won it?
Cycle Camp.
Cycle Camp.
We sent Cycle Camp over to our website, dailygunshow.com. We have a link at the top there for the Daily Pop Quiz. And we have a patch panel up there. We just changed it right now because stuff the last couple weeks went out today. So we're looking at a panel of patches that are the prizes for the Daily Daily Tactical Pop Quiz, and then the weekly Tactical Quiz. Bunch of patches that we either made ourselves here in Tucson that we had made for us from our designs. Some are donated to the cause. Some we bought at gun shows. And you can see the panels dwindling a little bit. A whole bunch of them went out earlier today. And I was also going to say we've got some results or some new tallies from the winners. So we've had a three-way race going between Sean Ponnery, Angry American, and Matt G. The positions have shifted or shuffled a little bit. We now have a two-way tie for the lead. Sean Ponnery and Angry both have 36 wins. And then Matt G has fallen behind a bit to only 30 wins. So I don't know if he just hasn't been able to hit the show recently, or if he's been holding off, or if those guys are just snatching the answers away. But I also like to mention we keep track of who wins and how many times. When we look back at the last couple of days, it was a winner who won for the first time, somebody who won for the 10th time, somebody who won for the 36th time, another first-time winner, somebody who won for the 8th time, first-time winner, somebody who won for the 30th, that would be Matt G. Before him was somebody who won for the first time, another person who won for the 6th time. So what we've got is, a couple of people who are consistently winners, but I'm happy that we see a lot of first-time winners, and there's some people that are accumulating. Rafael, who was our featured member over on Gun Channel, I think he's up to 12 now. So it's we do these every single day. We do some supplementary ones as well. So it's we do appreciate the people who listen to us live, and it's the way that we say thank you to that, and like to keep people encouraged that it's not just those couple of guys that might seem like they win a lot. There's definitely some movement in the winner circle.
And I also like to think that it shows the diversity in the questions created in the Tactical Pop Quiz of the day.
Right on. And thanks, Dano, for organizing that and doing it every single day. All right, so that'll take us on to the next segment of the show.
Well, just a quick note on the patch panel there that you're showing. In the coming short amount of time, there should be plenty of new and exciting patches on that patch panel.
Hopefully you guys grab some. You grabbed some at NRA show?
I got some, and Pink has tons. So
Right on.
I think those are heading your way.
Right on. Those will be appreciated for sure, because we're dwindling here, and I don't have time to sit on a machine all the time. So we're going to head into gun tech, binary triggers. But before we do, I think I'm going to screen capture again. Click. We are funded or supported by our listeners. So we bring in $79 a month for the show on our Patreon. So 23 people are making that happen. We appreciate it. Like today, a bunch of stuff went out. It's quite a few dollars in shipping. So the shipping costs and some of the podcasting are being paid for by our listeners. We do appreciate that. And we're letting people know about it. So I'll grab the link here and send that over. It's too late for you to participate in today's stuff, but you can definitely join our Patreon ranks and be welcome to join. Like earlier today, we were posting some of the shows in the schedule, so I went live, and a couple of us were just BSing in there. The second Saturday of the month, we get together and schedule the next 30 days of the show. So our Patreon supporters get a link, and they're welcome to join us live. Anything they suggest as far as topics go mainline straight into the schedule. But we also have a couple other ways that we say thanks. And for anybody that's donating over $30 a month, you have a chance at one of the patches off the patch panel. So this month we have one patron who is getting a patch no matter what. We'll contact them directly, but we do have a giveaway, a random giveaway. So I don't think I want to do that part on the screen because you'll see everybody's names and stuff. But I figured we'd do that during this segment of the show. So let me go over to our Patreon manager here. We brought in actually $80 this month. So thanks for the people that are supporting the show. I don't think it reflects necessarily correctly on the main thing there. So in other words, people probably donated a little bit more in some cases than the face value that they needed for the perk.
You're going to use randomizer.org?
Yeah, I'm going to use random.org. It's a good randomizer. And it looks like I'm going to include the person who does the patch as one of the people for the random patch, since they are donating $20. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And for fairness, Smeggy and Z both support the show at that level. So thanks, you guys. You are in the running for the random patch. So would I say 8? We'll put this over here to 8. And then I'll ask you guys, should we go from the top or the bottom? I'll ask Bob, since he's got no skin in the game.
So what to be
He said bottom.
Eligible?
Bottom.
What'd you say, Dan?
Okay. What's the dollar amount that someone needs to participate at to be eligible?
$3.
Okay.
You're at $1, so you're not eligible. All right. So
I understand that. I just want the viewers to know that.
Quit being greedy, Dan. We're just trying to get through this, okay? We'll get you up there. So Bob said from the bottom. So boom. Number 3 from the bottom, which will be Mr. Wright. Right on. So
Right on.
Unless he happens to be watching, I don't know. Is he out there right now? I don't see him on the gun channel side.
I do not see him out there, sir.
I didn't see him on the YouTube side yet.
Okay, so if you're out there, let me go back to our main thing, creator page. Somewhere in our posts, let me do this over here. You don't need to look at nothing. Somewhere in our posts, I think we've got a picture of the patch panel that's for the people that are supporting us on Patreon. It's not the normal patch panel. We actually have more of the handmade one-of-a-kind patches on it. So I'll scroll down here and eventually I'll find more or find it. Looks like that. Actually, it's quite a bit fuller than that right now. Basically, whenever I'm like this flippy one, I was just playing around with colors. That's a zombie bob. You know, I don't make bob patches anyway, so finding a zombie bob is going to probably be difficult out there on eBay. And then let's see, what do we have up there now? Got a couple of different colors of our mic and muzzle, and then we've got a couple of the Wolverine ones I posted. I don't think they're on this picture. So whenever Mr. Wright gets around to it, letting us know, we'll update the post picture there. And then going forward, we're probably not going to do the random anymore. We're going to do it a little bit differently. So stay tuned to the Patreon for details on that. But again, thanks for the people that bring in that $79 a month, or in this case, $88 this month. That goes a long way towards sending out those perks every day, or those prices every day.
I didn't know there was a zombie bob.
It's just like the regular bob.
There's 3 bob patches. Well, there's 4 bob patches. There's the one I started doing because I didn't have any gray thread, and Bob said he wanted his beard more gray. I think I had a 2 brown.
See, the zombie bob, much like the real bob, is also pickled.
Then there's the zombie bob where I just threw the green in there instead of his skin, and then I did another naked bob so that you could give it to one of his girlfriends.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, 3 bob.
I didn't need to know that existed. I'm gonna have nightmares now.
Yep, there's a naked bob patch out there.
Just knowing that's
Quit
in
saying
the
it,
world.
please. Stop saying it.
So that's our strategy next month. If we don't start bringing in some more scratch for this show, we're going to start sending out naked bob patches until you send us money.
Well, that's going to kill the value.
If I can have just a moment. If I can have just a moment. I'd like to take this opportunity for those of you watching this or listening to this later on YouTube, if you would please take the opportunity to click on subscribe. We would appreciate it greatly. It's a lot as far as in the future trying to do more things with the show. So click on subscribe and haven't already done so. Thank you.
I think Dana was asking you to click to subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Am I breaking up again?
Breaking up pretty wicked, Bob. Or both of you, actually, Dano and Bob. Anyway, so now we're going to get into gun tech, and we're going to talk about the binary triggers. Are they going to last? The binary triggers. Is that the one where you go forward?
I don't even know what one is.
That's where
I've heard of them, but I don't know what it is.
I think they're kind of silly. I mean, the gun fires when you pull the trigger, and it fires when you release the trigger, which to me just seems dangerous.
So what if you got a stovepipe or a squib or any type of that garbage?
I think you just like move the selector to safe or semi or something, and it deactivates the.
Okay, I figured there had to be something.
It does, but think about it. The way you're going to be firing it, you don't have time to think, to realize, oh, that was a poof instead of a bang.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just because it exists doesn't mean it's always going to work either. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are supposed to work until you get that case jammed up on top of the bolt carrier, and then it's weird. Then it's nothing's working.
Right, but if that was the case, when you release the trigger, it's not going to be able to, since it's not in battery or whatever, it's not gonna, the firing pin's not gonna hit the primer of the next case or whatever. Like, it's just not gonna do anything. Then you just clear the.
Oh, but that's just that one specific example I used. But like I'm saying, there's so many things that can go wrong. That's so much more to be aware of.
Yeah, and I just don't like the idea of the gun firing when you release the trigger. I understand what it's for. It's like the slide fire stock, right? Can make it more like you're firing a full auto, but I mean, rather than I guess companies trying to make money, but I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea, and I can't see it lasting.
But it's the industry trying to work within the government has set forth.
Well, and as far as lasting, what are we talking about? Are we talking 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years? Because the slide fire has been around for, okay, bump fire's been around how long, right? So slide fire and whatever the other company was, that Bumsky stock, I think was the other one. They've already been around for almost 10 years, haven't they?
Yeah, but I don't think but they haven't proliferated. Like, you know, it's a niche industry, and I think that's where the
Well, if anything, those bump stocks are what led to people trying to design the binary trigger so they didn't have to use a bump stock. If anything.
Let's just do the numbers. First, you're only talking to AR shooters. Then you're only talking to AR shooters that want to put that trigger in. And then you're talking to AR shooters who want to put that trigger in that have like the $500 or something for the trigger pack. That doesn't seem like a sustainable business. For that reason,
the price is definitely a barrier, especially when you compare that, you know, for less than $200, you can get one of those Bumsky stocks. 500.
Yeah, but I would think that a binary trigger is going to be more accurate than a Bumsky stock when they're using them for competition and whatnot.
Are they even legal in competition, though? I would think they probably aren't. I'm not familiar enough, but I would think if you show up to 3-gun with that, they're not gonna.
Well, because they have rules in 3-gun.
Right.
I mean, it's possible. Maybe they are gaming the system. I don't know.
Because whenever there's a mechanical advantage, then they're going to create rules to level the playing field so that people are back to their skills, right? That's why they put them in classes and all that.
But we all know that the rules always
skill, not about the tech. That's most gun shooting events are supposed to be, you know, the most skilled shooter wins.
There's always an open level or grandmaster level, you know what I'm saying? So there's going to be stock and then there's going to be open, just like in racing.
Yeah, yes, but that would
exactly.
Just bother to get a full auto then, right?
No, not the same thing.
And that's where I'm saying, like, if you go to 3-gun with a burst fire, I'm guessing
it's not a burst fire now. Hold on.
No, I know, but I'm saying Bobby said show up with a full auto.
Oh,
People aren't doing that because it's against the rules. My guess is that this is also, in fact, I'll try and look it up right now. It's just my guess. But hey, if it's allowed in competition, you shoot good with it, and it edges out the other guy who has a regular trigger or something, then I guess good for you.
Rules and regulations always trail technological innovation. That's the way it's always been, until somewhere down the road, whether it's determined to be valid and then accepted or invalid for some future reason.
And even then, they can change their mind in the future.
Isn't that the same kind of attitude that says if you're not cheating in NASCAR, you're not trying? I mean, it's like you're saying that it's okay to game the rules. I'm saying that a real sportsman plays by the rules and doesn't try to game them.
Well, some people want to win, and some people want to win.
And that's why they sometimes create new classes to compete in for new technologies.
Yeah.
So Bob says that it's not going to last. Artisan Tony out there says that it's a fad and it probably won't last. Daniel, how do you feel? As far as we're just talking about, is it going to last? Or we're answering that part.
Right. If it was the same price as the stock, I would say it will last as long as those bumpy stocks do, but it's not. So if it stays priced high, no.
Well, you know, what'd you say it was, $300 to $500? Well, some of those Geisley triggers are close to $300, aren't they? I mean, that's more apples to apples, even. But you say no. And
yeah, except I bet that Geisley trigger breaks a lot cleaner.
I don't know. Mr. G-Webs, do you think it will, you know, is it a fad? Or will they last? Excuse me.
Oh, geez. I think that they are going to not last very long at all, because I'd like to see the NFA be removed and just let us go back to the more safe and controllable full autos here.
I agree with you 1,000% on that. Mr. Smeggy?
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to last very long.
And I think that y'all are right that I don't think it's going to last. But mostly because I'm feeling positive and I'm following what G-Webs is saying, because we're going to get that stuff. We're going to get that NFA abolished at some point, hopefully. Some people out in the audience are also continuing with the it's a fad.
Man, if the NFA got abolished, I would have to consider for sure immigrating.
Oh, you
So,
can't come.
Oh yeah,
Michael Camp, the winner of today's tactical quiz, right? He says that the trigger, like the double 45, is just fad BS. Because I can type of product. But that's the thing. I think that the double 45 he's talking about, they definitely didn't think that they were going to get that into the holster of everybody out there. They built that because they can, and it maybe helps them with some other project they're going to do or something, so they're known as the people that made that. Whereas these types of triggers, they're marketing them like, yo, you need these. Like, there's, they make them in mass production. That's why I wouldn't consider that double 45 like a thing that's a fad or a trend. It's just a thing that exists. But this, it's like
Find a way to cut the cost in half and stop it to stay in business. They're not going to make it.
Well, I don't know about that.
Triggers that cost $300. If a regular trigger costs something, a Geisley adds more tech to it and costs 200 something. Maybe they got some proprietary angles or something. But what brings it to 3 or 5?
I imagine the machinery that makes it release on that let go of the trigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're one, G. You always talk about, well, you don't always talk about, but you see where I'm going with this is the number of parts. The more parts that you add to something, the more chances you are taking of having something break or go wrong. So the fact that since it fires off of the release, that it's going to have more parts involved with the trigger itself, therefore becoming more complex, therefore having more shit that can happen, whether good or bad. And you know that when it goes bad, it usually goes real bad.
Well, but are we talking about the price of the thing? I mean, that doesn't justify the price of the thing.
I'm just talking about
auto. It's got like 4 parts.
Well, what I'm saying is it's more of a complex machine, this trigger. Therefore, I don't know that necessarily makes it necessarily better.
Well, and what I'm wondering, because I don't know exactly how it works and all that, but I think part of the question we said, will it last, may also be referring to physically, will the part last? And
Like
what I'd be
number of
worried
rounds,
about is, the sear edge or something like wearing down a little bit, because obviously, like you said, there's got to be some other components and parts, and possibly having a little runaway where, it just doesn't catch, after the second shot or something and does 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, which I think you mentioned a minute ago. But yeah, like I would be kind of worried about that. I don't know what that geometry is that allows it to do that. But maybe when it wears down, it doesn't work as effective.
That's the quality of the design and how it's made, and that's really an unknown because there's only one company doing it at this point in time.
I thought there was more than one type of binary trigger. Because what was it, last year, the year before, they had the little shoot down in Arizona for the one particular type of trigger like that, and I'm pretty sure there's another one that's similar.
There's that was a bump fire trigger, I think. So it is more of a bump fire mode, as opposed to that other one is literally activating a thing twice or something. So they're technically, okay. But what we're talking about is $300 to $500 trigger packs that mimic rapid fire. So yeah, I don't really post videos on it. Maybe I did post that one, but bump fire is a thing that any semi-auto can do. I know people can bump fire 1911s. So it's just a matter of knowing how to do it and then being comfortable with it. These just aid that. They add functionality or whatever.
Well, and Do any of us feel that this will make you a more accurate shooter in any way? Like,
I'm not for that.
well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, even in a zombie apocalypse type of situation, since I don't want to say anything different,
Well,
because I'm
suppressive
not
fire,
talking about.
its goal is accuracy.
Well, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. In a zombie apocalypse, you're not trying to suppress the enemy; you're trying to take headshots.
And and that's full auto
That's
fire.
why I chose that one.
There's very few situations where full auto fire is needed in any kind of situation involving firearms and defending yourself or something like that. There's very few situations where full auto is needed.
I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Well, no, I think there is, because
I would say
aimed fire is always going to be more effective against one or two opponents. Full auto is something to repel boarders or repel attackers, ones that aren't zombies that you need to do specific headshots on. So and I've seen lots of demonstrations about how effective full auto fire is against 20 guys running towards you from across a field. It's not effective.
Typical Bob. Everything in his strategy is defensive use.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I'm a defensive.
Hitting the guys running across the field doesn't mean they're not going to
wasting.
Holy shit! Somebody's firing on me. Maybe I better hit the dirt or go backwards. And that's the whole purpose of suppressive fire, is to suppress the advancement of the enemy.
I think there's very few situations where you need that. I think most times
Good thing you're not a tactical genius, Bob.
I'm actually going to agree with Bob on this. The people that need suppressive fire already have full autos.
There you go. Well, now technically, if you lived in a state where you couldn't have an NFA, you still might be able to own this.
Yeah, that's true. My point is that I'm basically saying military type tactics and stuff are the people that need full autos. You go into the grocery store, you don't need to bring a full auto with you. That's all I'm saying.
Not in the question.
What's he talking about?
Yeah, I don't know how this got to be anti-Second Amendment here all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's not about need.
No, it's not. But you guys were talking about like defense and zombies and all that other bullshit or whatever's going on. So I'm just saying that
need one as a
purely the defense from zombies, an unrealistic joke thing that gets confused, because what we're probably really talking about is the people on the roofs during the LA riots, which were in the midst of living the anniversary.
Yep, through the 4th.
Perfect.
Yeah, but do you think those people on the roof having a binary trigger would have helped them?
Yeah,
or having a full
asking, would having a binary trigger be more effective at combat distance with semi-auto? Potentially, because normally you're having to bump fire. So if you are just trying to make do with a semi-auto and do the things that Bob says are few uses for full auto, then you're needing to either just normally bump fire it, which some people can only do from like their pant loop of their belt or whatever, or with some sort of device like the stock or one of these triggers. So yeah, I've tried everything, including full auto sears. Just you shooting full auto. Full auto is not as effective as shooting single shot. Big deal. Every once in a while, you need to shoot 3 or 4 rounds because you don't know what you're shooting at. Maybe it's in smoke. Maybe it's behind bushes or something. What the hell are we talking about? We're not talking about a specific thing. We're talking about the unknown. So full auto is obviously effective. Otherwise, they would have never put it in the hands of any of our military or police. So it has a use and it is effective. So will that trigger be more effective than just trying to bump fire? Hell yes, because with bump fire, you're basically bumping, literally just kind of using the momentum of the gun to keep it firing quickly. And that can be controllable under perfect circumstances, but it's never going to just be, I want 5, here's 6, unless you spend a lot of time bumping, which you can, I guess, do. But theoretically, a normal person can understand the concepts, and they can get, half a mag out, 3 or 4 out, and it can effectively do what you'd want full auto to do in those situations. If it's a shit ton of people throwing bricks at your building and your kid or something, and you're on a roof or up a stairway, then yeah, you want full auto once in a while. But I don't think it's worth having a $500 trigger on your gun for what the hell odds of that ever happening.
Well said.
Yes.
What about
Very
the
much.
concept of what you can buy for $500? You can buy a whole gun for $500, and they're going to say this trigger is as complicated as buying the whole gun.
What do you mean? It's complicated as?
No, okay. There's somebody suggesting that this gun is costing $500 and it's worth it because the tech in it or the techniques or the materials. And I'm just saying, you can buy a whole gun. You can buy a nice gun for $500. So you're telling me that just that couple of trigger parts have the tech of a whole gun in it, or the infrastructure of a whole gun in it?
Right.
Well, I always find that it's one of those things where this in particular is going to be whatever the market will bear. If somebody is willing to pay the cost, then yes, somebody will sell it to them for that much. If people are not willing to pay for it, it won't matter. Now, as a value of worth can be different levels to each person.
Right. And I'm guessing that trigger company, they're priced that way because they know they're speaking to, whatever, 3% of gun owners or whoever. Like, they're only selling to the people that just want to throw some lead into some dirt every once in a while. So they priced it high.
Are you talking about a 3% or the 3%?
A 3%. I just used a small number. I didn't. It's coincidental that it was 3.
You mean regular old 3% with a number 3, not the cool 3% with 3 in Roman numerals?
I percent.
Correct. Okay, I'll change it to 2% of the gun market. Then there's no confusion.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, that was a coincidence.
2%.
I just meant there's a small number of people that are actually going to be interested in the thing. So they figure you got to make a business, make money and all that. So
Well, like I
that's
say,
why the price is high. It's not just because it's made out of magic or anything.
unobtainium.
Although I don't want to just completely crap all over the thing. If you want it and you think it's cool, knock yourself out. I'm all for that. I don't see it really catching on and like every single gun in the U.S. having one of those triggers.
Right.
So, I mean, basically, we all agreed on no, except for Dano, who said it would last as long as the bump stocks did. And he's gone, so he can't refute that.
So there you go, Dano. Quit being wrong all the time. All right, so then that'll take us into the next segment of the show. Question mark?
I guess so. What do we do in between that second and third segment, though?
We already did that before you got here, probably. Because that was a segment.
We do have.
That was the third. Okay.
Yeah.
No, are we going to do the gun shop?
Go ahead. Do you got a gun shop to talk about?
I do. It's actually one of the ones I saw in Roswell, and I'd love to show pictures or give you a website, but they don't have one. And I mean, this time they really don't. I'm looking all over the cart, and they actually don't. But it's ZIA Guns, and it's a really nice gun shop.
Can you spell that?
Z or ZIA Guns. It's 1907 North Main, Roswell, New Mexico. A really nice gun shop. Got tons and tons of stuff and really cool stuff. They won't let you take pictures because apparently somebody took pictures and put them on Facebook, and somebody then claimed there was a stolen gun on the wall, even though they couldn't see the serial number or anything. So that's my gun. And so then the ATF got called in, and it was a big hassle for them. So now they don't allow pictures. Didn't hear whether, well, yeah, obviously it turned out to not be their gun, but apparently because of the one complaint, they got investigated for a while. And so
they'll crawl right up their ass.
Yeah. And so they're just like, nope, no pictures. We allow people to bring phones in, but they can't use them while they're in the store. So I was like, oh, okay. And I gave them our cards and said, well, we do a multimedia thing and online shows and everything. And daily.
Hey, that's my Barrett right on the counter.
Yeah. And apparently, like, well, they didn't really care.
So what's so cool about the shop? Like, what, they just have really cool stuff?
It had everything, man. It had every kind of AR. It had every kind of AK. It was just full of used guns. Had some surplus stuff. It was a fairly big store, and was just crammed with stuff, right? And like I say, I mean, there was every kind of AR you can imagine. There was every kind of pistol you can imagine. I was just like, I can't believe the inventory here, right? And just the, you know, the stuff. But at the same time, you know, the family's arguing about some dog because, you know, there was kids there. There was, you know, old ladies and that behind the counter and everything. It was very strange. But yeah, there were people arguing about the dog, and you couldn't get served. Like, I mean, I finally got to talk to the one person who told me, no, you can't take pictures, because I wasn't doing anything until I could talk to somebody, and that took 10 minutes. And, you know, there was maybe 8 or 9 people in there, but they were just, you know, it was like a bunch of people behind the counter were either sitting chatting, and they had an area for Dano types in kind of in the back part.
And it was a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but I think it was where the gunsmith, you know, where you get to talk to the gunsmith and stuff. It was like I say, I couldn't get any information. Like, I talked to the woman with the car or photo, she said no, and I got the idea that I did ask him about how long they've been there, and I think it was Nancy, so I'm pretty sure it was the wife. But yeah, just it's really too bad. I mean, because this was a really nice shop, eh? And, you know, couldn't get any pictures of it, couldn't really talk to anybody about it. They were just, you know, no, you're not going to buy a gun. Off, you know, oh, this guy wants to buy a magazine, right? Just no time for you at all. So it was kind of a weird experience. Not the best customer service, but the shop was incredible. I mean, they had everything there. They had weird stuff there. They had old military, like, you know, but hanging on the wall, like for sale, you know. So I was.
So all those guns are pickups from all the alien hunters that had been abducted?
Maybe. But they had a lot of stuff there. I was really surprised at their inventory and stuff, and just what they had in the cases and on the walls. And there was like everything, from modern to like stuff that, you know, you kind of see at the gun shows, and then, you know, some old stuff. And yeah, it was really,
somebody's
really
making the point, Bob, that maybe they wouldn't talk to you because you're from Canada. Do you think that had anything to do with anything?
No, because I never even had a chance to mention
Bob,
that.
we can tell that you're from Canada. We can tell.
Anyway, so you know, it was kind of disappointing, but I mean, if you do get a chance to, if you're in Roswell, check them out, because just the, you know, the stuff they've got in there, you might find that diamond that you've been looking for, or that, you know, whatever, that military surplus stuff. So, not stuff, but gun. So really, like, great shop, other than bad customer service, and, you know.
But Bob goes in there. Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about ZIA.
Exactly.
You got a minute of your time, eh? I don't know.
Don't you know?
I'm from Canada.
I was looking out in a boot.
No, like, I mean, it was really weird.
Boot ZIA. You got a minute?
I gave her my cards and said, you know, I asked her, do you have a business card? And she's like, yeah, there's some over there. And then she goes and starts talking to somebody else. And I was like, okay. Well, they're not really interested in the online stuff, obviously. But then, you know, it was like, I could have been in there looking, like, you know, I'd obviously been in there for a while looking in the cabinets and stuff.
Did Charlie take a shit in the parking lot or something?
No. Although he did, like, get out to take a pee, and their dogs that were in the back of the shop, because I had to park around the back because there was no parking. And, or there wasn't parking for the camper in the truck. And yeah, their dogs like started.
So
going crazy.
that's some dog that they were arguing about. Was it the fact that it was your dog causing problems?
No, my dog. No, they were arguing because their dogs went stupid and started barking like crazy, just because my dog, you know, walked in the parking lot, and then went back in the camper, right? So
now all of a sudden, this is starting to make a little more sense of why they didn't like you, Bob. But never mind.
It's cool that it's a cool shop and they have a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Like I said, it's well worth stopping in. Not the best service, but hey, I mean, maybe I just picked a bad day, or they were having a bad day, or a lot of shit going on. But, you know, other than that, I would definitely recommend going there and checking it out.
All right. So it looks like from my calculations, where'd my map go? Just a minute. Looks like from my calculations, it is approximately 36 miles from where the aliens crashed. So did you go over there?
Where the aliens crashed?
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about that.
All right.
Well, technically being an illegal alien himself, they may do the same thing to him that they did to them, or Bob was probed and he just doesn't want to talk about it.
This is a perfectly good time gun shop of the day because Clay's saying he's going to be over there next week going to the Red Dawn rocks. So maybe he'll stop in and he can update us on if they were good customer service to him or not.
No, he isn't.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Give
Clay
a second.
you're there, and that would be like hours further than the Red Dawn rocks. So geography.
He's trolling G-Webs.
Oh, well. Sometimes Clay's a nice guy, and I take him at his word.
I mean, it's possible. Let's be real. It's possible.
Only if you went around the world the other way to get to.
And he's just going to show the world and give coordinates. You know that, right? I mean, you know that.
Yeah. But no, I like when I visited the mothership. No, it was fine.
All right, so
I didn't see anything.
So Zia Guns in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah, very, very interesting shop. And like I say, I probably just caught him on a bad day.
All right.
But
yeah, we got you.
Okay.
So, let's keep going. So that'll take us to gun history. Is there something legit in here? Somebody put this in here?
I think I put that in there. I think it was yesterday, and it was just like history of the day, and it was for yesterday, and there was some stuff that would be pertaining to it, and then there was some stuff that not so much.
I couldn't find anything good from yesterday, but I did find something good from today, and I don't know if it's in this link or if it's from a link I found on another thing. I think it's from a different link. Let's see if they got it in here. So today's May 1st, right? So that makes it May Day, isn't it?
It is May Day or Lay Day if you live in Hawaii.
Oh, you people have to take everything to the derogatory.
That is LEI.
Oh, sure it is, right? But I bet there's a lot of Hawaii, or what do they call it? Islanders. I don't know, but there's probably a lot of them that convince the tourists.
Probably some racist term that you're very familiar with utilizing when you have a couple of beers, Bob, if I had to guess.
There's probably some, never mind.
So today in 1934, well, 1931, the Empire State Building opened today in 1931. Then in 1934, we gave the independence, quote unquote, to the Philippines. 1937, Roosevelt signed an act of neutrality, keeping us out of World War II, which worked well.
Until they bombed us.
1948. Today in 1948, North Korea was established. These are all bad, though. It's going backwards? No, it's not. Yeah, this one's not going to have it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure today is... Oh, maybe it'll say born on. Here we go. Nope, they're going to miss it. Today is I think it's Annie Oakley's birthday. Something like that.
Nice.
That lady could shoot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so rather than just have dead air, I'm going to talk and say, what are we doing next? I think we should do the gun of the day.
Nope, it is not Annie Oakley's birthday. That was August, so somebody else's. Some other female in shooting, though.
Probably lots of people's birthday today, G, just so you know.
Yeah, I can't remember what's today in history. I thought I did. I can't remember which website. I was looking at it on my phone. I know it wasn't history.com because they suck.
Phones are the devil's tool.
This is the one. Significant events, great, famous birthdays. What the hell? Oh, Calamity Jane. It was Calamity Jane.
There you go.
Today in 1852, Calamity Jane. Also the Red Baron. Nobody cares about him. Calamity Jane.
Red Baron? Wow,
Yeah.
man. He was shot down by a Canadian.
1918. The other day.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The Australians are trying to steal it, but we really know it was Canadians shot them down.
This one's way better. It has things like U.S. Admiral Dewey commands, "You may fire when ready," to a U.S. Spanish fleet at Manila. So that must have been some Navy thing. Some Navy battle. Oh, it's May the...
Yeah, that would be when you went to war with Spain.
It's May the 1st be with you.
May the 4th. Give me a break.
Oh, great. All right, well, so I guess that's enough trying to look at the day in history. What else is there today? We talked about the movie? No.
I said fun of the day.
So we try to talk about a gun movie every day where it has something to do with guns, and you might not have seen it in a while. Or if you're a young and you haven't seen anything good yet, this is where we tell you what to watch. So today it is Where Eagles Dare. Where Eagles Dare.
No one can hear me.
Yes, Where Eagles Dare. When we talked about the Iger sanction the other day, somebody brought this one up as not necessarily the same movie or anything like that, but a much better movie than the Iger sanction. And I think it's because there's some mountain climbing and stuff like that.
And then it's still Clint Eastwood, except this time he is a soldier fighting the Nazis, right? Or is he a Nazi?
No, he's fighting the Nazis.
Yeah, he just wears a Nazi uniform for a big chunk of it.
Well, they do to infiltrate the Eagle's Nest or whatever it is, yeah?
But they're trying to rescue a general that had been captured. And it was, quite an amazing movie, actually. Like, really lots of explosions and fighting and shooting. And, it was great. 2 big hard thumbs up from me.
Yeah, it had Richard Burton, Clint Eastwood, Ingrid Pitt, who anybody that remembers older horror flicks will remember how beautiful Ingrid Pitt is. Shot on location in Austria and Bavaria. Alistair MacLean wrote the novel of the same name and the screenplay at the same time. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Just trying to see. Blah, blah. Trying to see if there was... Okay. In the winter of 43 to 44, U.S. Army Brigadier General George Carnaby, chief planner of the Second Front, is captured by the Germans. When his plane to Crete is shot down, he is taken for interrogation to the Schloss Adler, a mountaintop fortress in the Alps of southern Bavaria, accessible only by cable car or helicopter. Which, think about what was usable for a helicopter in 43 to 44 for a second. And then blah blah. Disguised as German troops, they are able to parachute in, enter the castle, and rescue General. Nice. Bloody bloody. There's a couple of twists and turns. I think it's worth watching, in my opinion. It's a good movie. Definitely a good movie.
And I'll let you guys guess if I have seen it or not.
Yeah.
Well, it's an old movie, so I doubt that you have.
There you go. You guessed correctly. So yeah, I have nothing to add to this.
I have seen it, but not for a long time, and it was okay. What I get from it was like a mix of studio and location. It's one of those kind of movies from the early 80s? When was it made?
This is a 1968 movie.
68. Okay, so whatever it was, they had so much soundstage stuff that kind of bugs me sometimes. I don't mind a movie, but I guess maybe I'm just spoiled because I watch so many movies that are either made with better CGI now, where stuff happens, but when it's like a painting in the background of mountains or trees or something, it just distracts me. So I like the movie, but it was soundstage and stuff, so it was a little bit more like a TV show than a movie, I guess.
Well, they do mention in here how a good portion of it was actually shot on location, right?
Yep.
But I hear what you're saying.
Oh, I know. I mean, if they're doing a movie where it's all like Primer, who cares if Primer was filmed inside or outside or where? It doesn't matter because it's about the plot. And this kind of movie, they did film it on locations. So that's where it's like more obvious when it's like, oh, all of a sudden the sound's different, the lighting's different, their uniforms are all clean. It's like totally different when they're inside and when they're outside. Sometimes it's just distracting, is I guess all I'm saying.
Well, and you also got to remember it was made in '68, so like the level of special effects or what it is that they are able to do, I mean that's a little different than what they can do these days. I definitely agree with you in that if you were disappointed in it, it's mostly because you've seen what they've been able to do with movies, all the way up to 2017. So it's definitely.
I hang around with a lot of millennials a lot, so here's what
I'm sorry.
If they made a movie before I was born, then it ain't my fault. Like that, I don't gotta like it just because it's significant before I was born, because I'm used to stuff that's better.
Well, I also think that if you think that nothing good became ever before you, then you're mistaken quite possibly, and that you're going to miss out on a lot of good things in life because of that attitude.
No, just saying. I don't have to. I watched it, but I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm not saying you got to like it either. I'm just saying if, like, I know you were joking with saying that anything that happened before I was born is no good. That, I mean, the Constitution of the United States was before you were born, my friend.
Yeah, but I wasn't there when they wrote it, so how good can it be?
So the Constitution doesn't matter to you, is what you're saying?
Well, normally I'd say it's not relevant, but it is vintage, so that gets back some points. It's not obscure, though. If it was a little bit more obscure, then it'd rank higher.
All right, so obviously Geo-Ev's been taken over by a millennial clone.
Aliens got to him.
Yeah, let's go to the gun of the day.
Bob can't get enough of gun of the days all the time. He does one thing, so do it right.
Do two
How about
things.
he does it just right?
Yeah, and it is the Just Right carbine. And I actually started thinking about this, and this is in 9mm, uses Glock 17 magazines, is because we were talking about like guns for, bug out bag guns, or I guess, takedown guns. Well, this thing's takedown, 9mm, uses the Glock 17 magazine, and it's almost like perfect for when that cowboy double, your 4440 pistol uses the same rounds as your lever action Winchester. That's perfect, right? So you got this thing, uses the same magazines, and we all know you can get the 30-round fun sticks for the Glocks and the drums and everything else. All these are going to fit this thing, and you got the perfect caliber, the 9mm, the most useful, most common caliber in the world. So you've got it. You've got a fairly light cartridge then, so you can carry a lot of them. And this thing would go perfect with a Glock 17, right? It's kind of a it's like the Winchester for the Colt revolver. I think it's a great idea, and I love this little gun.
So how many of these have you picked up, Mister? I'm recommending it like a lever action.
One.
Oh, you have picked one up then?
Yes.
And you still say it's the same as a lever action?
Well, it does the same job. It's not the same. It's like picking up a Glock instead of a high power.
No, it's like picking up a sack of bricks.
Right.
Not in any way lightweight. It is the heaviest gun I've almost ever picked up.
It's heavy because it's built to last. Glock falls apart because the plastic breaks down. It's going to keep working. I have no idea whether it really will. I don't want to give this thing a high recommendation. I just think it's a really cool gun, and for me, it's fine because I'm never going to have to trust my life to it, right? So yeah, I think it's a cool little gun, and I don't care what anyone else thinks because it's my gun of the day.
Yeah. We're all entitled to our opinion, correct?
Everybody's got one.
Yep.
All right, so that was Just Right carbine, and I don't know, Smeg, you ever picked one up?
I have not, no.
But apparently Pink Panther saying Ballistic got some good shots of it, I guess, from the show. So check out Ballistic Expansion's Instagram. I know he's been posting a lot of pictures he took this weekend.
Sure has.
How many of those did he hashtag with Daily Gun Show?
I'm not sure. Probably none of them, knowing that punk kid.
Yep.
How many of them did he tag with gun channels?
I don't know.
Same
Probably
number.
the same number.
Same number.
All right. So
I
then
never said he was a genius.
that'll take us into. That's it.
Doesn't it feel good?
That's what the show feels like. A done deal. So it looks like Matt's going to be sending out his links already. So he'll be doing a show tonight. Also on Mondays, Locked and Loaded, I believe. We'll be doing a show from Hawaii. Then we've got We Like Shooting does their shows. They don't run a chat on gun channels anymore, but they post their show over on gun channels so you can watch it from there. And then tomorrow, Sean's been doing the Good Morning Gun channels, which has been pretty fun. And that's a long format show, and people are welcome to join in. Getting a lot more participation in that. Actually, Gun Channels has shifted. We started doing the daily show to see if there was any potential for doing daytime stuff, because Gun Channels had been basically a 7 p.m. Pacific almost, so 10 p.m. Eastern up through the middle of the night, and then overnight. Like a lot of times the chats would end at like 4 a.m. and people were in them. And we started doing this show to see if there was any legs to do daytime stuff, because I know a couple of people like Huck and others work during the day and sometimes have video cameras on. And while we didn't get Huck in here, we did get a bunch of people who liked the idea. And Jimmy James started doing the early watch on the regular at the beginning of the year, 5 months ago already. And now Sean's been filling in the gaps where Jimmy's had internet issues. And like I say, there's more people rocking and rolling on gun channels before our show during the daytime hours than there has been some of the nighttime chats. So kind of cool. But anyway, that'll be tomorrow. Then we'll be back here at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific for another show. That'll be episode 302. We'll be talking about did Trump's election reduce activism, Second Amendment activism? Then we'll be talking about good idea, bad idea. We'll fight over clearing the house versus holding up in one room. And then a couple of guys here have been doing the gun channel, the daily gun show, hashtag daily gun show showdown. So stay tuned to that. It's the beginning of the month, so there might be something on the horizon for that. Some of the results from last month, potentially.
Yeah. And also tomorrow is the 2nd.
So
we may have Every Second Matters before this show.
Sounds like we're going to do it before. Thanks for reminding me. Thanks, yeah. So anybody that's interested in joining in on that, we get together on the second day of every month and talk about the Second Amendment, activism, awareness, and goals. What we can do as individuals to encourage other individuals to move towards a goal. Can't get there without walking towards it. So on the 2nd, we try to keep that going.
All right, so
go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say, I guess on that point, we're pretty much ready to wrap up and do the quote. This quote today is by Samuel Adams, and one of the framers of the Constitution, and also apparently makes really good beer. Although
Patriot and Brewer.
I've only had a few of his beer, but hey, I am actually thinking I might even try some more just to see, Anyway, the quote today is, oh wait, before I say that, there was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, please mash the like button and subscribe, and for sure subscribe to the Daily Gun Show. And yeah, if you want to be a Patreon, be a Patreon. That would be really nice. So anyway, go on with the quote. Sorry, I'm a little smeggy today. And that the said Constitution be never construed to authorize Congress to infringe the just liberty of the press or the rights of conscience, or to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms. And on that, I want to say thanks to everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.